Hello everyone. Today we are going to review Animals on the Loose, a You versus Wild movie starring Bear Grylls. So this one is an interactive experience, so it may not work on all devices, but I do know if you have a gaming system, it will work on Netflix on there at least, so that's something, I guess. So yeah, if you have a gaming system, it'll work on there. I'm not sure if it works on all smart TVs. No, I'm not sure whether you could get like a controller, sort of like what they have for the Xbox or PlayStation, whether you could get something like that for the TV to connect it, or whether it's just like a gaming system type deal. But anyhow, so he did do a series very similar to this, where it was you versus the wild, but it was like a television show. I guess it was 8 episodes, 'cause judging from here. And he does have something on the way called You versus Wild Out Cold, so I'm interested to see what that's going to be like, because it seems like he kind of does it. Each episode is in a different spot, so different climates, different sort of animals, sorts of things, right? But this one is in Africa. So your mission is to help him get all these animals back into this animal sanctuary, as well as restore power. Now there is I don't really want to say a correct path, but it probably actually is. But they do filming for all these different scenarios, so I got to give him props because he's putting his life on the line against lions, uh, poachers, as well as many other things. I think there was a cheetah in one scene too. So it's just like he's putting his life on the line for our entertainment purposes, and it's real because there's real animals. It's not fake. So I mean, I'm sure there's a crew there with him for part of the time, obviously, and he has like a rescue team that can come in when he sets off his flares. They'll see it and come in and save him, but I mean, he could still potentially end up losing his life in some of these scenes, so I have to give him props to that because he doesn't know what kind of danger he could be putting himself into. I mean, I'm sure he does now because he's been doing this for so many years, and he definitely knows the risks a lot better than probably when he started. Because he did do a show called Man vs. Wild, and I don't actually know why it's not on his list here, but he did that from 2006 to 2020, I guess, and now he's doing these interactive experiences, so that I guess the fans can have their choice of what they want him to do. Now, obviously, some places there's 3 options, so I would say probably 2 of the options are correct, and 1 of the options is going to send you back certain steps. So it is cool that you can go in and pick certain different scenarios each time just to kind of see whether it's going to work or not. It always is like a cliffhanger moment for you. I mean, he knows what's going to work and what's not, so I suppose it's kind of like an educational experience as well, because if you're not a survivalist and you're not traveling much and you ever get stuck, it kind of shows you what to do and what not to do in certain situations. Some of them just kind of seem like common sense decisions, but I mean, hey, maybe the other options work as well. I don't know. I'm going to go back and probably redo this a few times, but I will say the first time I went through it, I definitely didn't do things in the proper order, but they do a very good job. That's just what I'm thinking. But they do a very good job of keeping you thinking about the potential dangers more than the first thing, which more than restoring the power. They make you think about the animals and the potential dangers that they could cause to the people. So they kind of keep you guessing throughout the film as to what pathway you should take, and everybody's going to think differently. So even me saying this, probably most people will have seen this by this time this review comes out. But anyway, yeah, even me saying this, people are still going to make a certain decision based on the way they would think that they would survive this situation. So that's kind of how I did it first. And then when I went back and watched it again, I was like, I need to actually change my decisions and the way I would do this, because now that you've gone through it once, you're kind of like, that's not the correct way of doing it. I should do this first, and then this second, and then third, and then there's probably more to this movie that I just haven't gotten to yet, just because of the order I'm doing things in. I'm sure if I do it a different way each time, something else more probably does happen. So I guess we'll kind of see where that goes, I guess, as opposed to maybe like saving all the animals first and then restoring the power. I think that would be an interesting way to do it for me anyway, just to kind of see where that goes, because yeah, each way you do it, some of the scenes are the same and some of them are different once you actually get into the scenario. So obviously this took probably quite some time to film, because they would have had to just film him doing each task and then going back and doing it a different way and then another different way. It's just funny to imagine him having to go through all that just to put it out there as a film for people to make a decision based on how they would try to survive it. And yeah, it's just a very interesting way of doing things. I think the interactive experience is really cool, and if you get a chance to do it, I would say this is probably one of the top things on Netflix right now for sure, as of 2021. As far as 2021 goes, this is probably one of the coolest. I hope they do more stuff like this with other movies and stuff too. I think that would be kind of cool, rather than just a real life scenario thing. I think it'd be cool to do kind of like what they did with Final Destination, where you got to pick what happened, and basically if you chose wrong, it just sent you back to the beginning of the film each time, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of like what this is like, because the one thing that annoyed me a little bit was if you made the wrong decision and then you went, yeah, sometimes it loops, so that's why I went back and redid it, because if you make one wrong decision, it sends you back, and then you make the right decision in the right order, and it makes you redo the previous decision from before. So sometimes it just got really confusing as to why certain things were the way they were. But anyhow, other than that, I would give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really good time. Not something you're going to want to repeat every day, because you would just get bored of it, I think, after a while, because a lot of it you'd just be saying the same thing day after day after day. So I would say maybe if you're going to do it, I would say do it twice, like one day after the other, because then it kind of gives you an idea of what, like, different way you would think of it the next day as opposed to the first playthrough. So I think that's kind of interesting, like do back-to-back days the first time you do it, and then maybe like wait a week or so. That's probably what I'm going to do, and then do it again. Yeah, but I would give this an 8 out of 10 for sure. I've been a fan of Bear Grylls, and I really did like his show, Man vs. Wild, when he brought like celebrities and stuff on, so maybe that could be something they would do with this. And I'm not sure whether he had a cameraman with him throughout most of the film, or whether it was a drone for certain parts of it, but you got to give props to the cameraman too, if there was one there in certain scenes, because he has to do just as much as Bear does, right, in order to keep filming him. So it's just crazy that there's actually two people doing stunts, but obviously the cameraman is a trained professional too, right? So he knows what he's doing as well. And some of it seems like that probably wouldn't work, and something I definitely wouldn't think of if I was in that situation. But I guess watching these shows definitely gives you a different perspective on what you should do and what you shouldn't do if you ever got lost in the wild. So I would say that's all I can say about this film. So as always, like, share, comment, or like, share, subscribe. Why do I always screw that up? And comment down below your thoughts on this film if you have seen it. If not, definitely go watch it. It's a cool interactive experience. If you can do it, do it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.